Brad Van Meter is a great option for all of your insurance needs. Been a great partner of the show and everything that we do here at From the Hawkeye of the Storm. for quite some time now. Give him a call at 515-256-6480 or visit him at bradvanmeter.com or his office at Fleur Drive in Des Moines, Iowa for all of your insurance needs. Again, that's Brad Van Meter at 515-256-6480 for all your insurance needs. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. That was a terrific basketball game. We'll talk about it all in just a second here, but man, what a performance by the Hawkeyes. What a fight. What a crowd tonight as well. One of the best that we've seen, as our friend Corey Brada will tell us in just a moment. Maybe one of the better crowds we've seen in quite some time at Carver-Hawkeye Arena. Just an impressive all-around game that Iowa came up one play short on. Iowa losing tonight to number 3 Michigan, 71-68 in brutal fashion. Had multiple shots at the end of the game to tie the game, and just unfortunately weren't able to execute. In the past we've sort of belabored Iowa's inability to close games and thought that they looked timid. I didn't think that was the case tonight. They put forth a great effort. They got good shots at the end of the game, and unfortunately, it just wasn't their night tonight. One play short as Iowa loses to number 3 Michigan, 71-68 inside Carver-Hawkeye Arena. We're going to get to all of it. We've got our good friend Corey Brada and our good friend Gary Close in the queue here. Going to add them in quickly in just a moment. Corey will not be with us for the entirety of the show tonight, as he attended tonight's game in person at Carver-Hawkeye Arena. So he'll be joining us live from Carver-Hawkeye. But without further ado, let's get to the man everyone's here for, Coach Close. And Corey, you're welcome to add yourself in whenever. I don't know when you're ready to roll, but Coach, good to be with you. Sad that they couldn't get it done, but man, what an effort by the Hawks tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. That was a great college basketball game. Kind of sets up, March Madness coming on. They played great. Michigan's really good, and like you said, they just made maybe one more play and could have gone either way. So, very impressed with how hard they played and how well they played.
Absolutely. Let's start here. And again, Corey will add himself in whenever he's ready. But I think first things first, they got off to a great start. I said to Corey, every year in college basketball, and maybe it's the NBA playoffs, good teams have that game at home where they come out with a lot of energy and they hit you in the mouth early against a really good team, maybe a team that they shouldn't compete with, maybe a team that they should lose to. They come out and they hit you in the mouth with energy and some good execution early. I thought for the first time tonight, Iowa did that. Got off to a really solid start against Michigan after that first sort of 90 seconds. The next 4 or 5 minutes, really high energy, really smart basketball. They were making things happen. They were aggressive. What did you see in that start that really set the table for them to be competitive all night?
No, I agree with exactly what you said. I thought they were ready to play and had a good feel for what the game plan was going to be and executed it well. And you like to get off to a good start, especially at home. And they did that and pretty much kept it up for the entire game. It kind of went back and forth with both teams getting a lead, but never too much separation. And like we said, they had their chances.
Absolutely. Michigan, one of their worst games tonight, turning the basketball over. That was really the biggest thing that kept Iowa in the game tonight. 18 total turnovers to just 5 for the Hawkeyes. Iowa had 26 points off of turnovers. Michigan only 5. So Iowa was plus 21 off of turnovers. What was it? Defensive energy? Was there anything schematically that I was doing well? And then also against a team with a lot of length, team that has a lot of wingspan on that team that can get hands in passing lanes. What did Iowa do so well to have such a stellar night taking care of the basketball? I mean, I obviously I knew they didn't turn it over that much, but 5 turnovers against this defense is really elite.
Yeah, Michigan's got one of the top defenses, in the league and in the country. I thought it was a combination. I think Iowa forced some turnovers, but I thought Michigan had some really bad turnovers. They've had a problem with that all year, and it's something they better watch out for because, they came very close to losing this game, and you get into the tournament where you only get one chance. That's not how you want to bow out if you do bow out. So And Iowa has pretty much taken care of the ball all year. When you got a point guard like Bennett that can run the show like he can run it, but that's still really strong because Michigan is a very good defensive team. So hats off to them. I really thought they played well and had a great chance to win the game.
Corey, welcome.
How's it going, guys?
Good.
Why is my head so big? My God. So yeah, I got the camera okay, there we go. That's a little bit better. I have a hard time hearing you. They just blare this music, Gary. They blare it for like 15 minutes after the game is over. Nobody's in this arena except media people, and we need to be silenced, I guess. I missed a few of your words, Gary. First of all, let me just give a shout out. Great environment. When I say great, I told Kyle halfway through the game, and I don't make it to every game, get to some games as media. Sometimes I'm in the crowd. I got a buddy who's got season tickets, and today I was able to be in the crowd and actually kind of experience it from that perspective. This is the best crowd that I've seen or heard in years. We had some of these crowds in the Fran era. I'm not taking anything away from 15 really good years, but I didn't hear a crowd like this the last 2 years, and I thought I was going to get a crowd like this a couple weeks ago in that Purdue game. Gary, I think you thought you were too, and your team starts slow and they get down big. Crowd kind of checks out a little bit, but I tell you what, I don't know if you've plugged our Big Grove's big play of the game, but I think that play, that Tavion Banks dunk on that fast break to make it 5-3 in the first few minutes, that just set the tone. Because I don't know if it was officially a sellout. There were some empty seats, but you would have never known by the crowd. And as you said at the outset, Gary, one thing Iowa has done or failed to do at times this year against good teams, I think the Iowa State game, you get up early, Iowa State goes on a big run, and then Iowa takes a long time to respond to that run. And I thought tonight they responded to almost every push Michigan made, and that's why they had a chance there at the end.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. They thought maybe they were going to get too far behind. They just came right back and caught up quickly. So they did a nice job of that.
What'd you see in the physicality, Corey? Obviously, the length on TV is pretty stark with Michigan. What it looked like in person?
Well, I'm going to be very, normally I'm on the other side of this and Gary has to rein me in. There are a lot of people here who don't know what a foul is. I mean, I'm standing in the crowd and I got, 15,000 of my best friends here, but ain't nobody in this arena tonight seeing this game through objective glasses. Because every one of those fouls that were called on Iowa in that second half, every one was a foul. Gary, you tell me I'm wrong. Michigan defends without fouling. And Iowa, for some reason, and you can maybe tell us why this was, they never adjusted to the officials clearly calling this game tight. And, you can talk all you want about Michigan's size and their physicality. I thought Iowa was the more physical team. But when the officials start calling those types of fouls, you've got to stop. First of all, stop hand checking. All right.
Yeah.
Two hands on the
especially 35 feet from the basket too.
And let me just say this real quick. Cam Manya's our player of the game. Yeah. He and Tavion really hamstrung Iowa in that second half. I mean, they just did. I mean, Cam was playing out of his mind in the first half. He gets two quick fouls early in the second. One's on an over the back foul, 30 feet from the basket. The other one is a ticky-tacky hand check call, but it was the right call outside the three-point arc. Tavion Banks, same thing. He gets a call to give him 3 fouls. And I'm thinking, okay, Ben, yell at him, take him out, do something. And it's the very next possession, he gets called for another one. Nowhere in the paint. Gary, I mean, I'm sitting there in the stands thinking, and I verbalized it. I'm like, that they got to be coached better than that. Like, at some point, don't you have to pull your guy? Like, if they're not making an adjustment, don't you have to call a timeout and do something to get your team to stop fouling so far away from the basket?
There was a difference in the game. I thought.
I agree.
I don't know what the free throw difference was, but
it was plus 10.
I would definitely foul too much.
Yeah.
And
Gary,
that offset all their turnovers.
Were they can we just get this out of the way? Were they all the right call? I mean, in general, were they all correct calls?
I thought it was a well officiated game.
I did too. I thought it was a really well officiated game.
Yes.
I was impressed.
I thought it was extremely well officiated. So I just, I'm not trying to sit here and play the blame game on Ben McCollum and the staff, but man, and we were sitting, just a few rows up from the Iowa bench, and I'm just like, we saw it coming a mile away. And every time it wasn't just Tavion, it wasn't just Cam, it's Isaiah Howard hand checking every time with two hands. Gary, what's the key to defending?
Right out in front. I mean, it's
what's the key? What's the key to not doing it? As a coach, how do you coach your guys when they're two hands on the ball handler and they're not quick enough to stay in front?
Yeah, you got to show your hands to the referee. If the referee doesn't see your hands, he's figuring you're holding somebody. And they're not in the right place, and especially to do it right out, right out in front, in mid-court. I mean, they got to call that. I mean, they don't have any much choice. So yeah, I thought that was huge. That it got them in the penalty really early in the second half. And even though Michigan's not a great free throw shooting team, they're not bad. And that was a big part of the difference. Gary,
they were in the double bonus, I think, with like 9 minutes to go.
Yeah,
it might even been more than that. I mean, it was quick.
Yeah. And they were in the single bonus, I think, with at least 12 minutes.
Yeah.
They were in the single with 12 minutes. 12 minutes to go, and then I think double with about 9.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just say this too, like, as much as what I just said is true, I think with Cam and Tavion, unfortunately, sort of setting the tone, because I thought those two guys brought it early, energy-wise.
Yes, they did.
Absolutely.
That's what was so unfortunate about it. That's why it was so maddening watching it, because it's like, first of all, you're getting your team in trouble down the stretch of the second half in a close one. But then on top of that, Cam, he's our player of the game for a reason, because he was playing his tail off in the first half. And Gary, the last time Iowa played a physical, bigger team in Carver, it was Purdue. And they did not finish well around the rim. They didn't deal well with physicality. I thought they played timid around the rim. And there was some of that tonight, but you also had Cam Manuel finishing strong with two hands. You had Tavion Banks in the fast break dunk. You had Isaiah Howard finishing with two hands. That was clearly executed better. What did you see different between the Purdue game and this game as far as finishing at the rim and physicality?
Yeah, no, I think you hit it right on the button. I thought they were much stronger and physical and more aggressive, attacking the body, attacking the rim, rather than shooting, kind of fadeaways and not strong shots. So, I thought both those kids played well.
Yeah, and I think when you're talking about that, Corey, like, nobody expects, Tavion Banks and Fulgaras and Manuel to necessarily outplay these big physical teams. It's just the way that it looks. And can you compete? Can you make it somewhat competitive? I mean, it was the same thing against Illinois. They got hammered early by their 7-footers. And, that game ended up being somewhat close at the end because they made a run. But Purdue hammered them and they didn't respond. Illinois hammered them. They kind of responded but lost. This just looked different. This was visibly different tonight.
And so, like, I guess that would be my follow-up for you, Gary, is we've talked about the inconsistency of this team. I don't know that tonight, this game, this single performance changes my opinion of this team in general, because we've seen them play really well, say at Iowa State or, home against who they played. They've played some teams close at home that they nearly beat. And then sometimes they go right back on the road and they struggle. So I don't know that this tells us anything about that game Sunday, but this has to be encouraging, not just for the fans, but for the staff and the players to play this well against one of the best 3 or 4 teams in the country, not just the league, but in the country, 2 games from the end of the year.
Yep. No doubt. They didn't lose a game on the road all year. It's the first time in 40 years that's been done in this league. That's how good they are. No, I think they've got to be encouraged. And now you get to a situation now where, you don't have to beat a team 4 out of 7. You just got to beat them once.
Right.
And you almost beat this team once, and this team's got a chance to win it all. So, no, I think it's got to give you some confidence going into the Big Ten tournament next week.
Either of you, Corey, do you think this is their best start to finish game of the year?
Honestly, this is going to sound crazy, but I actually think it's still Iowa State. I know Iowa State went on that big run, but I haven't seen such a crisp Iowa offense as I saw, and that was weird because that was early December. You would think the offense would get crisper as the year goes on. But Ben has talked about that, Kyle. Like, their defense has taken a bit of a step back. Their offense has gotten better, but it was really good against Iowa State. And the way they jumped on the Cyclones early, I know Iowa State didn't play well the other day against Arizona. I still think on their best night, it's Duke, it's Michigan, it's Iowa State, it's Arizona. I've gotten a better look at some of these top teams in the past couple of weeks. And man, I tell you, the size of Michigan. I got to see it in person tonight. I mean, they're just long everywhere, Gary, and physical everywhere, and everybody can score. And the big, I don't even know the guy's name. What is it? 15. He makes Imara. He just, he hits that prayer off the glass. Such a huge possession with about a minute to go, Gary. They defended him as well as they could have. He puts up a prayer, and in the very next possession, he scores again. I thought those two plays were plays of the game if you're a Michigan fan.
Huge. Yeah, no, a great timeout play for the lob, and they played great defense the whole possession, and that's not the shot they wanted, and he banked it in. So they putting the big kid on Stirts. They also did that against the kid from Illinois, and Landborg. He really can make it tough on guards with that size and strength. Both those kids score, but it took a lot of shots for them to get where they wanted to get.
Can I just say one thing too? Late game offense was better tonight, I thought.
Way better. That was one of my things, one of the first things I put on my note. Way better.
And I say that in spite of the fact, Gary, that they missed a three that would have tied it to send it to overtime. They dribbled the ball. Tavion gets it stripped. He knocks the ball off his leg. It was the right call. So in spite of that, be that as it may, I thought the late game offense, they attacked the rim. That's one big thing. I mean, we see them settle so much for those Bennett Stirts step back threes, and they didn't do that tonight, Gary.
No, I agree. I agree. No, they did. They needed one more bucket or one more stop. I mean, it was that close.
Al, you're running the show. What are you looking at me for? You're running the show.
I'm just you're here for a short period of time. I'm waiting for what you have to say.
No, I felt bad for Bennett Stirts at the end. Senior, he's had such a great year. You hate to see that shot not go down.
It would have been magical, wouldn't it?
And honestly, here's the deal, guys. I was calling it when they had the ball with 22 seconds left down 2. I whispered to the guy beside me, I'm like, they got to go for the win here. I think sometimes you feel like, Gary, at home, get it to overtime, ride your crowd. When I think there's a talent gap and a size gap, and let's not forget, three of the five guys on the floor were playing with 4 fouls. I'm like, go for the win. And that's the only thing that I don't know that Ben McCollum's going to look back at that regretfully, but if I regret anything, if I'm Iowa down the stretch, it's that possession. I know they were trying to create, Banks is trying to create, but man, I just wish they could have gotten a 3 off on that possession to try to win this game.
I was going to say too, Corey, I don't know that Bennett wasn't hunting for that. It kind of looked like he was hunting for that out of the inbound. He just didn't get it off, and then he passed to Banks.
Yeah, and I think they had a time. Did they have a timeout at that point, guys?
Yes, they did. Yeah, they
did.
So
one more.
I kind of wish they'd have called a timeout and drawn up a play for Coop, or Coop wasn't there. What was Coop's stat line? You have that, Kyle?
Yeah, he went.
I thought Gary. I thought he
4 for 3 points.
I thought Cooper really struggled tonight defensively. I mean, he's still young, right? He's a redshirt freshman, but I thought if there was anybody that stood out on both ends really struggling, it was Cooper. And Cale had his moments as well.
Fulgaras too. I would point Fulgaras out too. He did not look good tonight.
He had a couple of plays. Had the I think it was a shot in the first half that could have been a goaltend. I think that was Alvaro's shot that was blocked by the big guy. And that hurt. That probably hurt a little bit. If he makes that shot or at least gets the call, maybe his day goes a little bit better. But he's been up and down all year. And that's kind of the story of this team, right? Just up and down all year. Honestly, the most consistent pieces of this team, I can't believe I'm saying this, at this point have probably been Stirts and Mannion. Like maybe not from a scoring perspective, Manuel's not going to give you double digits every night, but he pretty much brings it every night. And he's typically not a mistake guy. And that's why I was so surprised to see him foul so far away from the basket. Because he seems like such a level-headed kid. But Gary, is there also something to be said for being senior night and you're playing a top 3 team and you're hyped up and the crowd's going nuts and you get just a little bit excited?
Oh yeah, for sure. Last game, last game in the arena. There's no doubt. You never quite know exactly how they're going to react to that.
Yeah,
but I thought they, for the most part, did real well.
Yeah.
It was a Michigan's really good. They've been number 1 in the country and they won the league easily when it's a good league. Didn't lose a game on the road, and you got a chance to beat them. And a couple shots here or there, you might have. So
yeah, I mean that's the thing too. I mean they got to the moment that everybody wanted them to get to. They had a tie ball game with 2 minutes left, and then you kind of see, okay, let's play basketball and we see what we see, and they didn't get it to go. But I mean, I don't know about if you guys disagree with this, but I mean, you just don't really see Iowa blowing a team out like this. So the only way they were going to win this game was something like this, and then they made that one play at the end that Michigan made with the bank shot and all that kind of stuff down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Gary, how much does a tournament committee look at? How much do they get in the weeds as far as strength of loss, margin of loss? I mean, I know that the margin plays into net, but can this be a bit of a pot? I mean, it's not going to move them up, I guess, in the tournament committee's minds, but it has to resonate better just from an eye test than if they had, come in here and lost by 15 or 20.
They moved up 2 spots on Ken Palm.
There you go.
So.
Yeah, no.
So, I mean, I saw
you get a huge boost if you win, but I don't think you lose anything losing, especially the way they lost.
Let me just explain real quick, just because there's been a ton of chatter in the Discord, and I'm no bracketologist, but there's been a ton of chatter in the Discord the last couple of days about Iowa making the tournament, not making the tournament. And I know there's a lot of people who are convinced they're not going to make or they have not solidified their spot in the field. Let me just explain real quick why I believe they have. I have not seen a single projection, Gary, here. 1 game left in the regular season. Before tonight, it was 2 games. That doesn't have Iowa at least as a 9. So what I can't imagine is that at this point, playing Michigan and Nebraska, okay, 2 of maybe the 10 best teams in the country. I know Nebraska's probably going to drop this next week. But playing 2 of the best teams in the country, even if you lose both those games, one of them's on the road, how are you going to drop more than 1 seed line from 2 really good losses? So at worst, I think heading into Big Ten tournament play, they're a 10. And then even if they lose in the tournament, in the conference tournament, we always hear about the committee doesn't really pay much attention to those conference tournament games as much as they probably should anyways. You're going to tell me they're going to drop a whole nother seed line? Like, they may end up as one of the last 8 in, but I just can't imagine there are enough teams that have enough marquee opportunities in front of them that are below Iowa right now that can jump that many spots to get to Iowa. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're in.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I think where they're not in is they just play horribly at Nebraska and then at the Big Ten tournament. But even then, I don't think so. I think they're in.
I mean, what I keep going back to, Corey, again, is they're like in the last, I think it was Lenardi. I can't remember the last major bracket. It was released over the weekend, but in that bracketology, there were 18 teams that Iowa was better than in net and Ken Palm that were in the field. There were 18 teams in the field that Iowa was better at in both of those metrics. I don't see it. Now, I mean, the way that they're going into the tournament's not going to be great. If they lose to Nebraska, they will have lost 6 out of their last 8. But I don't know that has a whole lot to do with their resume. Their resume is a whole picture. It's not 8 games.
And it's Gary, you've played in you've coached in a lot of NCAA tournaments. You never want to go into the NCAA tournament losing 5 straight or 4 of 5 or 5 of 6 or 6 of 8. And that's kind of where Iowa's in a position that could happen. But if you play Nebraska tough on Sunday, I would think this team is still feeling pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree totally.
Yeah.
Nebraska's good. They're playing at home in senior day, the whole deal we just went through. And if they can beat them or play them well, I think they got to feel pretty good going into the Big Ten tournament.
I think they will play them well because is it tomorrow Nebraska plays USC and they just played UCLA or no?
No, they already played them.
They already played them. Okay, I didn't.
I was going to say they don't. Yeah, they don't play UC. I was about to jump for joy if they were playing UCLA, USC, and Iowa in a matter of 4 or 5 days.
Okay, so it was just they're back in Nebraska now.
Yeah.
Okay.
They got one game left. Yep.
So they got 2 extra days of rest, but they did have to travel.
They traveled out west and they haven't played in a few. I mean, I don't know that it's a horrible spot to play them. And they haven't played well either lately.
Yeah. It was a late game.
Nebraska hasn't beaten a team above 500 in the league for, what is it, a month and a half now? It's like mid-January or late January since they beat a team over 500 in the league.
Yeah. I don't know, like Dom here. This is the guy that Dom only shows up when he's angry. He only shows up when he's angry. But when he says Iowa only has one good win, I don't know what to tell you. Like, look at all the bracketologists out there. They all have them in. All of them. So I you can say whatever you want, but it doesn't really make a difference at this point. The projections are what the projections are. Now I hear that the bubble's a little weak this year, but at the same time, I have said this for a long time. In this league, if you go 10-10, I think 9 times out of 10 you're in. I think 10 wins in this league normally gets in. And Iowa had 10 wins 2 games ago. So, and I also, here's the other thing. I don't think this team, this is just me projecting, but I don't think this team goes to the Big Ten tournament and struggles. I mean, they may lose. It's possible. But we saw Fran's teams go to tournament play and oftentimes struggle to shoot. Obviously, they're going to struggle to defend because they struggle to defend everywhere they go. But like this team, maybe they do what they did at Penn State and struggle away from home to defend. But I just think defensively, maybe I'm just drinking the Ben McCollum Kool-Aid. I still think this team's defense looks more like tonight than it did on Saturday against Penn State in postseason play, Gary. And that bodes well in a bigger arena in postseason play late in the year when your legs start to give out and you maybe not shooting as high a percentage. And maybe that bodes well for a emotional, energetic day on Sunday in Lincoln.
That sounds good to me.
All right, Kyle. Hey, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna hit the road, but I want to say this: you got about 10 to 15 minutes with Gary. I can tell his eyes are closing. Remember, he's on the East Coast. Gary, what's the weather like out on the East Coast right now?
Real nice.
All right.
Yep, can't complain.
Well, it's gonna be 70 in Iowa on Monday.
I heard that.
We got a chance of some hail and tornadoes tomorrow. So
we got a chance at some weekend golf, Corey.
Yeah, if the course is Finkbine open or is it?
Finkbine is closed for renovation this year.
So where are you going to go?
Brown Deer is going to open in Coralville, so I might head there. Depends on how the road's feeling, but
I wouldn't want to. I can't imagine what those crowds are going to be like. First 70-degree day and Finkbine's closed. What is?
Right.
What's that course going to look like?
They said last year Brown Deer. I spoke to the guy that runs it couple days ago. Like they said, last year they did over 42,000 rounds, which is I think 200 and something per day of being open. And he said this year they're projecting closer to 47,000 or 48. It'd
be so hard just to get a tee time. You're gonna have to start driving to
6 days ahead, or
you're gonna have to start driving to the Quad Cities and Cedar Rapids, and
that's why I said I'm gonna have to go to Cedar Rapids to play. I have some people up there that can get me on different places. But
is there a course? Is there a decent course in Washington? You know, that's not far, right? Probably a decent course down there.
Yeah, probably. I don't know that I would go down there.
Hey, I got a little par 3. I'll take you on up in Marshalltown. How's that? It's called Collison, par 3. You ever golf Collison, Gary?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
You can't get me on Elmwood?
I want to take Gary to Collison.
I have been on that. In fact, I've played that and the country club.
You know what, Gary? Honestly, for the price, Collison's not a little bad par 3. If you're trying to hone in on your short game, your iron play, it's not a bad little course. So, all right, guys.
All right.
Don't keep Gary up much longer, travels. Kyle.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. We will not keep Gary for too long.
Okay.
Just quickly, I would like to get Doug on here in just a second. And we'll
Where's
get to some
Doug?
of our ad reads. Doug wants to get on before he hits the road. Doug, I hear you were in attendance tonight.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah, good phone, I guess. Dad wants to go, so I'm sorry about trying to I didn't want to drive and go. So, but that's the best crowd I've seen in a long time, especially for a weekday game. There was an Illinois game a few years ago that was pretty good, but that was the best crowd. Yeah, the crowd was very, very upset about the foul discrepancies, and yeah, there's probably a lot of them that weren't fouls that the fans were booing about. That was a tough game. I thought they had them, but as Corey said, and some trolls are out there, but I think they're in the tournament, and I think their work mostly has been done. Teams can jump them, but there's a lot of work a lot of teams have to do, and I don't think they go to the Big Ten tournament if they play like that on defense and lose a game, especially on Wednesday or Thursday. I think this team plays on Friday. I think this team plays Michigan next week on Friday and has a chance to upset them on a neutral floor. But I could be wrong. I'm wrong a lot. So
if
that's good thoughts.
Just to make sure that we understand, currently they're projected to play the winner of Oregon and Maryland. Is that correct?
Yeah, whoever the 15-18 is. Yeah.
Okay.
So they're a bad team on Wednesday. One of the worst teams on Wednesday.
If they lose that, I mean, I don't think it puts them out of the tournament field, but that'd be very disappointing to lose that again.
Yeah. I believe Ohio State is a game up on us now. I don't have the Big Ten standings, and we have the tiebreaker on Indiana, so I'm pretty sure we're solidly the 9th seed playing at 11 o'clock on Wednesday next week. But we have a big game against Nebraska. I think Nebraska is beatable at their place. We just were talking about going, but I don't know. He's right now even upset, so maybe we won't go. But I'd like to go. And like I said, there's a lot of pests. Like it seems like there's people, and I've stopped commenting now because if you don't believe the teams in the tournament, they're not in the tournament. If you believe these losses will take them out of the tournament, then they'll take them out of the tournament. I think right now they're in, and there's a lot of work. I think a lot of other teams like VCU, West Virginia. I can't see Cincinnati. They're not going to get jumped by USC. They're like Corey said, there's 18 teams that would have to jump Iowa right now, and I don't think that's going to happen. And I think they're going to do well at the Big Ten tournament. And so with that, I've never exited off my phone, so
I'll take you off.
Okay. Good night. Good night.
See ya.
Yeah, good stuff. They are pretty much locked into that 9 seed. Let me pull up who Ohio State plays. I mean, obviously, if they pull the upset, then this changes. But Ohio State's 1 game up on Iowa. Iowa does have the tiebreaker. Ohio State plays Indiana at home, so possibility there that they get upset. But obviously, in all likelihood, they're locked into that 9 seed. They'll play Oregon and Maryland, and then we'll see what we see after that.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't get the tournament talk right now. I mean, my thing is, Gary, I try not to come on here and say anything too, definitive. I tend to defer to you and defer to Corey and defer to our experts about different sports. My question for people that have them out of the tournament right now or think that they're going to be out of the tournament is kind of like what Corey said. Can you name one other expert that agrees with you? Can you name a single other bracketologist that agrees with you? Because they're not on the 10 line and they're not on the 11 line in any of these projections. I have not seen a single one that has them lower than the bottom of the 9 seed range. And I've seen some, in fact, a week ago, they had a couple of projections. I think Lenardi, I can't remember who else had them. Somebody had them as a 6 seed a week ago. So if the range is 6 to 9, you say, okay, maybe they're an 8 seed. What, they lost by 3 to Michigan and they're going to lose by, say, 5 to Nebraska, and then they lose a Big Ten tournament game. You think that's going to knock them from a 7 all the way down to not even in the tournament? I disagree.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And I think a lot of things got to go wrong for that to happen. Yeah.
Let's get to our Big Grove big play of the game. Tavion Banks' one-handed fast break dunk, like Corey said, got the crowd on its feet, 5-3. With 17:40 left in the first. I thought the Koch pass was really the highlight there. Obviously,
nice
Tavion had the flush, but man, what a nice pass in transition.
It
started, but one of the only plays that Coop made tonight. But man, what a sweet play for the two of them.
I agree. He's a good passer, especially for such a young kid.
Yeah, and a couple other candidates tonight, Coach. Let me know if you think of anything else. But the Isaiah Howard pump fake and slam, where I don't know if you caught on the edge of the broadcast, but when they showed the replay, and I think you could see it live, but I caught it on the replay. Ben timed his jump with Isaiah, and Ben jumped on the sideline as Isaiah jumped.
I think Isaiah got a little higher.
That was awesome. It always reminds me of the Phil Mickelson leap at Augusta when I see older coaches and stuff trying to jump with players.
Might hurt themselves.
It's a core memory. But any others you'd throw up there for play of the game tonight?
Well, I thought a couple of Bennett's threes were big.
Yes,
he didn't shoot great from three, but he hit a couple really, really big ones that either got them the lead back or got them close.
Yeah, and you got to keep in mind, I think the first 4 shots that he got off were contested threes at the end of the shot clock. So he shot 4 of 14 from 3 on the night, and he had 4 Hail Marys to start the game. So he's 4 of 10 after that. You'll live with that.
Yeah, and he had the last one that was,
and the last one, that was a 30-plus footer. So really, 4 of 9 on clean looks. You'll absolutely live with that. And then, he was 7 for 23 from the field. It's okay, given all the kind of prayers that he threw
their size bothered not only him but a lot of guys. It's a different game.
Yeah, absolutely. What this is one thing I wanted to talk to you about, Coach. Michigan tonight, if you just go back and look at the looks that they got from 3, they generated an awful lot. They didn't generate a lot of 3-point attempts, but they generated a lot of very clean looks from 3, and it just strikes me that Iowa fails to do that. What is that just a defensive advantage thing where, with Michigan's size, Iowa's collapsing the defense and everybody's in the paint and then they're kicking it out and somebody's wide open? Is there something there that Iowa can learn from? Because they only shot 12 on the night. It felt like 10 of them were wide open. What did you see there, and what can Iowa possibly do?
I think you're pretty accurate on that. I think they drive the ball so well, and they got so many guys that can do it. And they got really good balanced scoring that it really tests your defense to play inside out. They've also got great length, which really helps them on the perimeter. And I think that was clear with putting Langborn on Stirts. I think that really challenged him in terms of getting shots off that were good, clean looks. So I think some of it's Michigan's length, and I think some of it's their ability to, penetrate, to throw the ball in the post, get the defense to collapse, and then they can, kick the ball out, make the extra pass. They're unselfish. They're a balanced team. There's not one guy that's scoring all the points. They're pretty balanced. So you got a lot of guys you got to guard.
Another thing I wanted to kind of recap with you, and I brought it up there briefly with Corey, but Alvaro Fulgaras, you talk about players being up and down. He's been up and down all season. It really doesn't seem to correlate home and on the road. It seems to be fairly random. He's had some very good games at Carver. He's had some very poor games like tonight at Carver. I thought one of the stats of the night, actually, in the midst of all of those fouls, that I was committing tonight, Alvaro was the only one that didn't commit a foul. And Stirts was the only other one that didn't commit at least 2 fouls. So I don't know if that says something about, obviously you're not happy about players committing tons of fouls, but it says something about their commitment and their aggression throughout the game. So what do you do about him? How do you get him going? Offensively and defensively, it seems like a lot of times his defense is engaged by his offense, to be honest with you. What do you do with him in the tournament, and how do you coach a player, when it is do or die every game, which, from this point on, it's after this Nebraska game, it's win or go home in the Big Ten tournament and in the Big Dance. You just can't have games like this from Alvaro, and especially when they're overmatched like this and they need that offensive punch. How do you coach him? What do you say to him, and how do you put him in a position to be a little bit more consistent when they need him in March?
Yeah, I think, when you get into a situation like that, you want to try to make it as the same as what you've been doing. The more you try to change things, well, why are we doing that? Is it because we're not good enough? Is it because, some other things are happening? So I think they understand that, they lose, they're done. That's one of the beauties of the Big Ten tournament. You get a chance to go through that before you you do it in the NCAA, but you're not going to change a whole lot now. You just, hey, play hard, do the things you do well. Don't try to do too much. And, hopefully he'll get on a roll, which could very well happen. I think now you almost don't want to overcoach because they know they know the situation they're in.
Okay. So you think then that they just kind of, this is the team that they are and they roll it out. Obviously there's small things that they can coach, but you're not changing, minutes in the rotation or anything like that.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they're pretty much, this is what we're going with and it's good enough. If we, got to play well, but you take a team like that down to a 3-point game. That's the 3-pointer that divided it was a bank shot at the shot clock.
Yeah.
I think you try to be, honest, where are you at? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Let's play to our strengths, try to stay away from our weaknesses. If I was Michigan, I'd be worried about their turnovers. If they have 16 turnovers against a team in the NCAA, they could be gone. That's just, that's a little scary. Iowa's got some strengths they can play to, and they got some weaknesses they got to try to cover up, as do most teams. But making drastic changes now probably is not going to help a whole lot.
I think there's some teams when you get to this time of year that play their own brand of basketball, kind of no matter what the matchup was. I think Fran's teams were an example of that, where they kind of had one style of play and one way they could beat you, and they just tried to beat you that way. And that was it. If that was a bad matchup, it was a bad matchup and they lost. And there's other teams that are a little bit more versatile that kind of, game plan for the opponent, maybe adapt rotations for the opponent, maybe adapt scheme for the opponent, defense, zone, man, all that kind of stuff. You see Iowa being a team that does that, or do you see them as playing the way that they've played and just kind of sticking to it? Where do they fall there?
I think they'll play the way they've been playing. It's not that they don't look at some things and, hey, let's try this, let's do that. But, they're a man-to-man defensive team. They've been that all year. That's not changing. They'll there may be coverages they might change a little bit or something like that. But I think, as we mentioned just a minute ago, I think you understand where you are right now. And it's not like you can't play better, but you start making drastic changes. Now, why are you doing that? And it almost sends a message that we're not good enough. We got to change up some things to trick some people. And, it may work for one game, but it's not gonna carry us. So they're good enough that if they play well, they got a chance to win some games in both tournaments. If they don't play well, then, they could be knocked out early. But that's the case for a lot of teams.
That's the case for just about every other team other than the ones and the twos, pretty much, isn't it? That's just that. And sometimes
that's why the tournament's so crazy.
So sometimes it's not even. I was going to say sometimes it's not even a matter of playing poorly; it's a matter of just shooting poorly. Sometimes teams get a whole bunch of good looks, and 2 of them out of 20 go down, and they're gone. That's just the nature of basketball.
One of the years we went to the Final Four at Wisconsin, we lost the first game of the Big Ten tournament. And, and then hey, all right, that's over. We're better than that. And, let's see what happens. So, or maybe it was the second game, but we didn't play well. I know we didn't play well. And you may not play well. You just hope it's not a case when you're in the NCAA tournament, because then your season's over.
Yeah. One of my favorite sayings, like just about anything, but particularly about sports, is from this is probably maybe something you're familiar with, Coach, the Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People book. And it says that successful and productive people, they happen to things don't happen to them. And I think that's something that this team can really cling to as they go, because really early in the first half, when they came out with energy, it felt like finally against a really good team, Iowa was happening to the opponent. The opponent was not happening to Iowa. I think too often, when we look back at those Purdue games, the Illinois game, the Iowa State game in the middle of the game when Iowa State went on that big run, too many times the opponent was happening to Iowa. And Iowa, it just felt like defensively, they're scrambling all the time to try to get in the way of whatever they're running, and it feels a little bit desperate. And then offensively, it's like there's so much negativity on offense, people getting wide open looks and hesitating from the corner, from the wing, guys that didn't want to put shots up at the rim because they felt, they saw ghosts of opponents. That's to me, that's the biggest thing. I don't know that they have to, like you're saying, adjust tons of things going into Big Ten tournament play, going into, NCAAs. It's just, man, if they come out and they just say, we're going to hit somebody in the mouth today with energy and with effort and with enthusiasm and positivity, and not just sit back and react and wait for what the opponent's going to do, I think they can make a run. And, that's all dependent on seeding. I mean, obviously, if they get one of these 1 or 2 seeds early, they get Duke early, they get Michigan early, they get Arizona early, Florida, they're probably out. They're probably gone almost no matter what, I would say. But that's the case for a lot of teams. But they get a Gonzaga, or they get a Tennessee, or they get a Texas Tech or something like that. If they come out and they play like this, they play with energy, they've got a shot. It's just they cannot come out passive, and they can't come out soft, and they've got to they just have to make sure that they're positive in their mindset. They're doing, a lot of times we say in golf, we're playing aggressive to, conservative targets. So even if you're being conservative, you're making aggressive moves towards conservative game plans, I guess. Yep. I don't know if that resonates at all, but it just strikes me watching this team. Like, there's so often that the opponent happens to them and they don't happen to the opponent.
And you get into the NCAA tournament, teams don't know you as well as the Big Ten teams know you. I mean, this is a marathon, and in some case you played them twice, but there are no surprises. So it comes down to execution and, making shots, missing shots. And whereas you get into the NCAA tournament, they may have 2 days to get ready for you. And now same thing holds true for you with the other team, but in such a strong league as a Big Ten, that usually gives you somewhat of an advantage.
Let's get to a couple comments here, and then we'll let you go, Coach, for the night. It's been fun, and like you said, a fantastic Big Ten basketball game. Corey says here on the road, on the way back to Ames, he said he thought that they went to Alvaro too early. Ben typically trades Mannion out for Alvaro, but Cam was rolling. What do you see anything there? I don't know. Cam was obviously rolling, but Alvaro got in a couple minutes early.
Maybe. I'm not so sure. I think he's got his his rotation. It doesn't change too dramatically. You're going to have games like that. I think it's then you see how it goes, and then you maybe make some adjustments in terms going into the second half. But he could have come off the bench and played great, and then we would have thought it was a great move.
Yeah, I would agree with that. As a coach on the sidelines, this is something I've been curious about, watching, Ben and some of these other coaches work. How closely as a coach obviously you've got Bennett, who is going to play all 40 if he can, or if he can't, then it's going to be the next closest thing to all 40. How closely as a coach are you tracking minutes played from different players? I mean, is that an assistant's job? Is that somebody that's going to tell you, like, hey, so-and-so has been on the court a little bit more than we normally would, or whatever? How closely is that monitored?
Yeah, you might get some of that. Certainly you'll get it if they get into foul trouble. But usually you've got a pretty good idea of how you want to substitute, especially early in the game. And then you got to kind of read it. Foul trouble will change it. The way people are playing might change it a little bit. With some exceptions, but usually you have some kind of a plan going in how you want to work the bench, and then unless something puts a wrench into that in terms of fouls or injuries or not playing well, then you got to kind of adjust.
Yeah. Brian 22 says, what's your feeling on timeouts to set your defense? And I'll add to that question, Coach. Late game, do you prefer, in the situation I was in tonight, let's just assume they're down by a couple of points. Do you like timeouts to set their defense, or timeouts to call plays on offense? Because they had a lot of timeouts left late in the game. In fact, they didn't even burn their last one at the end. Do you prefer timeouts to set the defense, or timeouts to call plays on offense in that situation?
Well, I like to have timeouts left, at the end of the game to be able to use. But I think you got to coach the way you feel comfortable coaching. He's a little different as far as that goes. He calls most of his timeouts, after the defensive possession, which is not very common, which might make it effective. I got to watch it a little bit closer and a little bit longer. But I think the minute you start changing what you want to do, because somebody else does it a little bit different, that could be a problem. And that's why I kind of admire him. He's got a way in which he wants to do things, and he believes in it, and so he sticks with it. And I think that'll exude confidence, to his players. So, a couple of times when he does it, I'm going, whoa, what exactly did he do that?
Yeah.
And I try to think about it a little bit, but he still had some timeouts left, so it wasn't like he was burning them. That's kind of his style.
And I don't know. I mean, people obviously do the whole hand wringing at the end of the game over should he have called that last timeout? Should he not have? I mean, they got a good shot at the end of the game. I
thought they got a pretty good shot too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I thought they might try to, throw one to half court and call a timeout and then set up a sideline OB for 3.
Yeah.
With 4 seconds, it's probably a little tight in terms of time goes. But I thought, a lot of times defenses aren't set, and if you do that, then they're going to try to foul because they're up 3. And so he got what he wanted. He got his best shooter with not a great look, but a decent look.
Yeah.
And so I think that worked out pretty well.
Yeah, you got the ball across half court with 2 seconds to go. So I guess you maybe call timeout and you have one dribble at that point. But again, I mean, I just don't know that they get a shot better than what they got. I mean,
I'm not sure they would have.
And
now, if they had thrown a direct pass to half court, then they might have, had about 3 seconds on the clock to run a side OB, and then, maybe get a closer 3. But I thought it was a pretty decent look for that amount of time.
Yeah, we've certainly seen a lot better or a lot worse execution on full court offense under 5 seconds from Iowa and from other teams. So not upset at that. Jet Pilot says on the strip ball off Banks, why did Stirts ever pass that ball? What did you think about that last play, Coach? I kind of thought that when he got it to Banks, just considering I think Banks is a little bit hobbled right now. And he wasn't in a great flow in that second half. What would you make of that?
Yeah, I wanted Stirts to take a few more shots down the stretch. He's very unselfish. It was a good pass. It was something that Banks would probably tell you he should have finished. He should have protected the ball a little bit better and was stronger with the ball. And, he could have maybe gotten a 3-point play with a foul. So I don't think it was an horrendous play, but I thought I would have liked maybe a couple of plays for Stirts lead to give him a chance to make some big shots, but it didn't turn out that way.
All right, Coach. It's been great fun.
Bet.
We're all disappointed that didn't turn out the way that we wanted, but
I thought we had a
fantastic
chance.
basketball
Really
game.
did. Well, we'll see if we can't pull off an upset Sunday.
I know. Corey did tell. I don't know if you've said this yet, but Corey did tell me you predicted an upset tonight. I like the bold pick, so I'm with there.
I did.
I'm with you there.
They were gonna win tonight.
I had my day against Nebraska at home, and I hope that they go. I think they'll go on the road and compete. I don't foresee them getting blown out by 15 or something at Nebraska.
I don't either, unless it's just one of those nights where Nebraska can't miss anything. But hopefully they get off to a good start and maybe take the crowd out a little bit, and then and hopefully be in a position like they were tonight, where they have a chance to win and make one more play than Nebraska does.
Yeah, they're Nebraska's only wins for the last couple of months here, or last couple of weeks here, have been USC, Maryland, Penn State, and Northwestern and Rutgers. Those were their wins in February. They lost to Purdue, Illinois, Iowa, and UCLA. So hardly. I mean, you go back to the last time that they beat a somewhat competitive team. They beat Washington in January. They beat Minnesota in January, Oregon in January. I mean, you have to go back to Indiana. Really, Indiana's not even over 500 in conference. So Ohio State on January 5th is the last time that they beat a team over 500 in the Big Ten. January 5th. So that's
they must have had all their tough games early.
They lost a bunch of them in the last couple of weeks. That's why they've slid down the standings, because they were 20-0 at one point, and I believe they're 25-5 at this point. So they're 5-5 their last 10. So and granted, you got your games against Michigan. They lost to Iowa, they lost to Illinois, lost to Purdue. There's hardly any shame in that, but haven't beaten a good team in a while. So I think they got a shot. Coach, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm gonna let you go and get to bed.
Good to see you.
I won't be too far behind you, but good to talk as always.
Take care.
All right. See you, Coach. All right. Always good to have Coach Gary Close on our side, win, lose, or draw for these post-game shows. Going to get to a couple of quick promos. We'll be right back with a couple of callers here to finish up the night, and then we will call it an evening. Plenty of basketball left to be played. We'll see you in just a second here. Brad Van Meter is here for all your insurance needs. Great sponsor from the Hawkeye of the Storm at Fleur Drive in Des Moines, Iowa. Give him a call at 515-256-6480 or visit bradvanmeter.com. Again, that's Brad Van Meter at Fleur Drive in Des Moines. Call him at 515-256-6480 or visit him at bradvanmeter.com for all of your insurance needs. We thank Brad for his longtime support of what we do here at From the Hawkeye of the Storm. And one more real quick. Big Grove Brewery is the official craft brewery of the Hawkeyes. Visit biggrove.com. They've got 4 convenient locations in Iowa and Iowa City, Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, and Solon, and a brand new location in Omaha that we are going to have to pay more visits to all those locations over the next couple of years with football and everything going on with basketball right now. Again, Iowa City, Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Solon, and Omaha locations. Check them out. They're officially the official craft brewery of the Iowa Hawkeyes. We thank Big Grove Brewery for their support as well. All right, everybody. Let's see here. I'd like to get to our friend Ryan here on the stream here. Ryan, welcome to the show. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, Hey, it's Kyle.
Yep.
So you can hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. So my much better half, Mrs. Cahill, got my audio problem fixed. And so
I saw that in Discord.
Yeah. I had to make sure Corey knew because I got bombed out like the last 2 times I called. But anyway, neither here nor there, other than my wife is way better than I am. So anyway.
Aren't they all?
Mine sure is. But anyway, tonight, it's a really super rare feeling for me to feel okay with a loss. I'm very proud of the Hawks. There's a couple things, I think we could nitpick, but overall, this team has fire. This is still a more enjoyable team. I'd rather watch a Ben McCollum 71-68 loss to Michigan than a 99-91 loss under Fran.
Absolutely.
And it is what it is. I thought the officiating, I'm trying to choose my words carefully, it was beyond reproach. The foul discrepancy, you got Paul, or not him. It was Icky Earl breeding demons and Bart the Fart. But anyway, I thought they collectively stunk up the arena on a few things. And truth be told, there was that one time where I think it was Alvaro was in lane for 5 minutes, 5 seconds, and they didn't call it. So I will say it wasn't all against us. one question I wanted to ask Coach, because his Wisconsin teams won games like this routinely. And I was really looking forward to asking Coach basically like, what would have you done, or what should have happened differently? Because we were very much within grasp. I'm not down on them. I think, I look at North Carolina State and Will Wade, and they're maybe a little behind us, and yet they're holding their own okay. He's the only example of a first-year big-time, Big Four, whatever you want to call it, coach that is really in our position, right?
I don't follow closely enough to make a definitive statement on that, but I can't imagine there's much better. What I will say is think about Indiana, right? They got the candidate that was the other candidate in the Iowa job, and Indiana has more resources than Iowa does when it comes to basketball, as far as I'm aware. And they got DeVries when it was reported that Iowa was pursuing him. I don't know how accurate that was, if DeVries really was the number one guy. I'll take those reports at their word, but they have more resources for men's basketball. They have a greater history, and they got their guy, supposedly. Look at where they are. Ryan, I think you might enjoy this. Do you mind if I go on a little rant just for a second? Because I'm seeing some stuff in the comments, and I feel the need to call it out.
Oh, blast on, brother.
Okay, I need to do this because Corey does this.
The bar's open.
Yes, absolutely. We've got a commenter here, and I'm not going to go too hard on you, but I've got a few comments that I have a bone to pick with, okay? Eli Thompson comments this in the chat. No way Urok can't score 2 points and 1 rebound in 20 minutes. Why is Fulgaras playing 20 minutes when he sucks this bad? First of all,
because of Ohio State and many other games. Sorry.
Absolutely, because he's shown he has the upside. I have no idea when you think that Trevor Urok has ever shown the upside so far in his young career that Alvaro Fulgaras has shown. Trevor Urok cannot play defense at this stage in his career. That's still a work in progress. Everybody knows that. His athleticism and his quickness with his foot speed is not anywhere near where Alvaro Fulgaras is. Just because a player plays badly does not mean that the coach should have benched the guy 5 minutes into the game and played Urok. You just can't make that argument. And and we've got a couple more here. I'm gonna put all these on the screen.
Can I say something to that?
Yeah. Yo, go for it.
It's pretty simple. And you said the word upside. Alvaro has shown that he can show up as the legit number 2 on this team on any given night. He also can show that he's the legit number 7 on the team on any given night.
Yeah.
You got to bet on number 2 against an opponent like Michigan. Next question.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And then the next comment. This is just hilarious. Maybe I'm just being baited and I'm just taking the bait, but who cares? Who cares what Fran would have done? You're just making excuses for Ben, and Ben is literally just the opposite of him. He plays no offense and all defense. All right.
That's wrong. That's wrong statistically.
They're the 30th ranked offense in offensive efficiency. They're 23rd in field goal percentage. They're 18th in 2-point percentage. They're 19th in free throw percentage. I don't know what you want me to say, but they're not a terrible offense. It's just, it's just ridiculous.
The defense wins games in March.
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah.
If anything, and how you rack up wins to get into that 20 range when you get to March is defense.
Yeah.
Dick Bennett with Wisconsin, pre-Bo Ryan. You got Tony Bennett, his son at Virginia. Houston with crooked Calvin Sampson. Those defensive teams go far in March, and that's what we need. I don't want to compare football and basketball, and this isn't a football show, and I've had my Kirk Ferentz issues, but that being said, if there's one thing that I can say that even despite his longevity, it has allowed him to become the Big Ten all-time win leader. Is he knows how to win the game, usually on defense, when you're not as 4 and 5 star, if you will, or what have you, talented.
Yeah.
You know, you can say, well, Iowa puts tons of talent in the NFL every year, and that's true. But
they don't come to Iowa as NFL talent necessarily.
They usually don't. You know, once in a while you'll get a transfer on the brink, but no, usually no. So what I mean by all that is winning uglier is our better avenue to success. And if you watch 30 years or 27, 28 years, whatever it is, of Iowa football, you'll understand that. Even how it translates to basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and Corey says rightly, I mean, again, we're going off on their offense for some reason, as if that's the problem. The defense has let this team down more than the offense in the last month. Just a statistical fact. I mean, just a fact. They were, again, we've gone over it ad nauseum. I asked Ben the question a couple of weeks ago. Ben, you've been 160th in the defense, in the defensive rankings for the last month. What's the explanation for that? They've been updated. They're 120th or something now for the last month. The defense has been by far the bigger letdown. And not to say that the defense is horrible. I've never said the defense is horrible. I've never gone in on their defense. I've just asked the question, why? Why schematically did it change so much from the early part of the season where they were top 30 in basically every defensive metric? How did they then slide? And maybe it's size, maybe it's something else. But I don't know what you want me to say. The offense is not the problem. And again,
I don't think the offense is the problem either, but
no.
I'm not going to dog on the defense. I mean, like, we're one in the Big Ten in points allowed, maybe 2.
That's a possession. That's a possession stat. I wouldn't say that they're that good necessarily. But
well, all I know is under Fran, we were 1 in one offensive or in one category and last in the other, and that doesn't mix well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we get stuff like this, right? We get let's see. Maybe if we didn't shoot 7 of 27, okay, whatever, that happens. What good player is going to watch Iowa and choose them over a team like Illinois or Nebraska? Cool. I mean, these are just pot shots.
Anybody, well, especially a point guard, because
thank you. Who's going to watch?
Shown. Now, if we could just drive into Indiana and dig up their cornfields and grab a 7'7" guy like they just grow on trees, and apparently, Illinois and Michigan has them too, that wouldn't hurt.
Yeah. They I mean, anybody what, I mean, you think somebody's going to watch Sam Hoiberg over Bennett Stirts and say, oh yeah, I want to come play point guard for Nebraska? Like,
I cannot come up with a better one than that. Good job, man. You're right.
I'm just saying, it's just a question. But then we get this pot shot here, Ryan. I think after the Nebraska game, Ben said, Bennett makes me look like I can actually coach. He was joking, but it's 100% true.
His four rings are from a Cracker Jack box, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah, I mean, it's
go away.
Thank you. And by the way, can we just say he had one player on his roster 12 months ago when they finished the season last year, 11 months ago when they finished the season last year. He had one player, and he brings his guys from Drake. He gets Brennanhausen. He gets a couple other guys. He got Fulgaras. Like, he's patching together. This is year 1. Please point to me the non-blue blood program that changes coach and has one player on the roster and is in the position that Iowa's in, where they're locked to be an NCAA tournament team after 2 years out of the field. He is definitively an upgrade, and it's not even close.
Well, I don't have it in front of me, and I've referred to this a few times before, but let's just look back at Bo Ryan and his UW Platteville career, where I grew up, junior high school. I'm living in Dubuque, Iowa, going to Platteville, Wisconsin, or when Platteville, Wisconsin comes to the University of Dubuque, going to those games. He won 3 national championships in D3. Ben won 4 in D2. So, and in an undefeated season. If there's anything I learned from Bo Ryan, and again, this is where I kind of wish Coach Close is on, but coaches who can win championships, especially multiple, just plain know how to coach. Now, you can always ask, well, what about recruiting? Yada, yada. Ben Stirts is, by all accounts, going to be at least a late round, first round pick. That is going to alone bring somebody out there to be like, I want to be the next one and the next one. Ben's known as a point guard guru. Yeah. Now, I think if we want to talk about it real quick, hey, let's fix Iowa basketball. I think beyond the fact that we always have to have a great point guard or, definitely a chit-chat right on the men's side, if you take that analogy, doesn't have to be the top scorer, doesn't have to, but is definitely the catalyst. We need the rim protector.
We do.
We need somebody who can just fight like hell underneath, hopefully get the calls. That's a whole nother story. I don't know if I ever told you this, Kyle, but I'm not a big fan of officiating in the Big Ten.
What?
No, I'm not.
Really?
I'm not. No, I'm not. No.
Can I
I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to hurt you. But
before we get into the always enthusiastic topic of officiating, can I get to one last comment, and then we're gonna leave this alone for tonight, okay? I was 150th ranked in points per game. First of all, this is the end of the conversation unless you call in, which these people never do. So that's fine. You just don't know basketball, okay? Because they are 361st in adjusted tempo. Okay, 361st. The fact that they are 150th in points per game on 361st number of possessions per game means that they are a good offense. They are the 32nd ranked offense in KenPom. They are the 30th ranked adjusted offensive efficiency in Bart Torvik. They are a good offense. Just because the number on the scoreboard does not say 126 at the end of the game doesn't mean they can't score. And I would ask this question to the individual that comments like this. If somebody, for example, if a team, let's just say for the sake of argument, if a team say they get the ball and they inbound the ball and they dribble the ball all the way down to 1 second on the shot clock and they throw up a layup at the end of the shot clock and it goes in, and they shoot 100% from the field for the whole game on 40 possessions or 45 possessions and they score 80 points. Are they a better or worse offense than a team that scores 90 points on triple the possessions?
I watched a 2000 Bo Ryan team. Dick Bennett, Wisconsin. Dick Bennett. Get to the Final Four, winning 61-56 all the time. All the time. Against, it didn't matter who. Are you going to tell me they were an elite offense? No.
Yeah. No, you're not.
But you know what? If you make the Final Four, who gives a rat's you know what? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all I know is this. Ben's a winner. You cannot ask for a better season than this year, given the ragtag have to put it together. Okay, you can say you got the remaining core of Drake, who did well. No doubt about it. And some of us, like me, who wondered, how would Drake do if they played in the Big Ten last year? We're probably getting the feel that they're a middle of the pack team, and that's exactly what we are right now. That being said, I really believe in 2-3 years, we're going to be knocking on heaven's door. And so I'm sick by the fact, Kyle, that March of 1999, when we beat Arkansas to go to the Sweet 16, Nolan Richardson's 40 minutes of hell, and we then played a valiant game against UConn but lost. That was the last time we went to the Sweet 16. I was 2.5, 3 months out of college.
Yeah.
And I'm much closer to retirement than that. And this is just too damn long. I do not think we had to wait much longer under Ben, is my point. The guy's a winner. He's got a handful of rings, He's going to need a thumb ring if he ever gets the next one.
You don't do that by accident. That just doesn't happen. No. That doesn't happen by accident.
And I circle back to my Bo Ryan comment. You saw in D3 that this guy can coach. Yeah. He was mediocre for 2 years at Milwaukee, comes into Wisconsin, has a pretty similar year. He won the Big Ten in year 3. So,
yeah.
And I'm sure Coach Close had something to do with that.
I'm not saying that they're going to the Final Four this year. I'm not even saying they're going to the Sweet 16 this year. And I'm not saying that they'll go to the Final Four in 2 years, in 3 years. That's not what I'm saying.
No, me neither.
In an era of NIL, when you have, the rumor, I don't know if any of this stuff's accurate. I see it pop up on Discord or on Twitter or whatever. The stuff going around tonight is that Michigan's roster cost $20 million and Iowa's cost about $6 million. That's what I saw. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. I'm sure that's somewhere in the ballpark of being accurate. You have a different era of basketball when teams are legally allowed to spend 3 times as much as other teams on talent to put a team out there. Again, you had one spot. And I think any coach probably would tell you that it costs more money to bring players in than it does to retain your own. And so when you have to bring 14 guys in to fill spots to be this competitive in year 1 is a statement and a testament towards Ben. I've listened to Ben enough. I asked him my question a couple of weeks ago. I've listened to him talk about the challenges of building a roster, the challenges of keeping it together long-term, the challenges that they've gone through of getting fans back in the arena, which, by the way, they have done. And tonight is testament to that. Nebraska's testament to that. They have I don't know what the I don't know what the average attendance is for this year. I bet it's 2,000 or 3,000 fans higher than what it was last year. They have gone through a series of changes and a series of challenges. And I've liked what I've heard from Ben. They've stepped up to the challenges so far. They're 20-10 right now. They've already surpassed their win total from last year pretty quickly, pretty easily. And they're set up for a not ideal future. Obviously, Bennett's leaving, but a future. And when Bennett leaves, by the way, his money's going to free up too. So when you lose Bennett, you free up a little bit of cap space to maybe go out and get a guy. Not saying you're going to get Bennett 2.0, but to get somebody that, and I'm sure Ben has his eyes on somebody in the transfer portal this year that he can go to run the offense. Because like I said, I don't think he wants Cale Combs doing that next year. I don't think he wants Cale in Bennett's shoes right now. But the idea that because they're 500 in the Big Ten this year, that's some kind of failure, I don't buy it. I don't accept it. I would ask anybody to point to an example. Go down the list of the teams that are ahead of them in these rankings, ahead of them in the standings. Where is the team that fired their coach, had one player left on the roster, and built what he's built in this period of time? There really isn't anybody. The only equivalent example is Indiana, and they are struggling. They're below 500 in the Big Ten. Iowa's going to be ahead of them in the standings, and they are not a tournament. I don't know that they're a tournament lock right now, are they? It's certainly not a lock. They've got work to do.
They're not. They're close.
they're close. Yep, they're certainly close. I'm trying to see where they're at in KenPom. They're 41st in KenPom right now. KenPom has Indiana. Let's see where they have them. They've got Indiana 4 or 5 points below Iowa in net rating per 100 possessions. So, like, again, where is the equivalent? And again, that's Indiana with more resources. Imagine if Tucker DeVries, if Coach DeVries had Iowa's resources. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, again, I don't know what the point of any of this is. I don't know what the comparison would be.
Well, one of the points that I can think of based on what you said is Ben McCollum should have been, and thank God was, the only choice. Now, I remember back then thinking, I'm okay with either. We just got to get one of these two. And obviously, DeVries picked Indiana first for obvious reasons. I was elated because I knew that meant we were probably getting the better coach. I have a really good buddy who's an Indiana guy. He's kind of made me an Indiana football fan, except for once a year. And he agrees wholeheartedly that Ben McCollum is the better coach. He's a better long-term option. I just, you look around and, everyone else seems to be having some type of a rebuilding year. And you can almost argue Indiana's borderline into that statement.
Yeah.
We're still a step above. And I think that says a lot about Ben McCollum because let's face it, I have difficulty. I was a fan in 1982 when Bobby Hansen and Steve Carfino were our backcourt, and you had Mark Gannon, Greg Stokes, and Michael Payne. Those are the guys that got me hooked on Iowa basketball. I just miss Ronnie Lester. But the fact of the matter is, it's like I think we're going to have a lot of ability to get a high-profile point guard. We got to get bigger in the paint.
Yeah,
I think shooting will always be there. The one thought I had that I'm curious what you think, Kyle, is next year, in theory, you could have Tavian back. You could. You're going to have Sage back. You're going to have Trey Thompson, Ethan Harris. Right there, I'm kind of wondering, do we have a lot of redundancy?
Yeah, I would say so. That's probably accurate. Certainly. Whether they have redundancy or not, there's still holes there. There's still a lot of holes there. There's not any elite level of size, at least athletic size. Obviously, Uroc's got a ways to go, and they just don't.
You got Manuel back, and you got obviously Cooper Koch. But see, I kind of think of Cooper Koch a little more into the wing area. You got Alvaro back for one more year. He's not exactly a banger.
No, not at all. And I think, even with Manuel, I think, really in an ideal world, isn't Manuel kind of your backup center? I think that's, maybe not after this year, but I don't know. This year, I think if they were going to be, compare them to the contenders of the Big Ten, he's probably your backup, I think.
Yeah. We just got to flood this team with talent. And I think.
And I don't know that that'll happen in a year, by the way. They'll probably add a piece or two. And what I really hope is in the portal and in recruiting, they're prioritizing pieces that'll be around for a while. Because, unless they get their hands on a real talent at point guard, they're probably not. I don't want to say they're not going deep in the tournament next year because it's just, so much can happen. But you talk about a new coach coming in, really, you say 3 to 4 years is when they start to get their fingerprints all over the roster. in terms of
in
guys
basketball. It seems to be quicker.
It does. That's true, because you don't have to develop offensive line for 4 years.
And if you recruited 2/3 of your roster, but out of those 2/3 they all play, your fingerprint, it's now your team. Yeah. Unlike football, where it does take 3 to 4 years. Yeah, but I'm just gonna say Ben's gonna be amazing. You know, I mean, even Jan Jensen, who had a really good rookie year, similar to Ben's, and she really, if it wasn't for an unbelievable UCLA record with just tons of talent, she would have been easily coach of the year. They might have won the Big Ten. Well, UCLA deserves it. Not that I think they're a legit Big Ten team, because I really struggle to recognize the West Coast. But
let's leave it on this, Ryan, because we're an hour and a half in now. But Corey has a question for you. Several times now, he said, "Say their names." Kyle, why won't Ryan say their names? Don't leave without saying the names, Ryan. What would you like to say to our friend Corey Brada?
There's no question in my mind that the liaison to the mob, Paul Sleazebag, got with Icky Earl, James Breeding Demons, and Bart the Fart, and made sure that the fix was in. I think that's what Corey was looking for.
If you don't get us banned on here someday, Ryan, it'll be a miracle.
It's satire.
Corey says, Larry, would you like to finish?
I thought Larry did a fantastic job in that Washington game.
Good work, Larry. Good work. How about this? Before we let you go, let me do this, because I've been very much enjoying. Let me pull this up. Enjoying our time with the Discord. So the Discord has been something that we've wanted to get going for a while. It's been up and going for the last several months. We're up to, I think, is it about 70 users now? And people are active in there every day. I mean, during the game, I have the notifications on my computer. I was getting dings every 5 seconds for quite a bit of the game. The Discord server is awesome. Great place to build some community, which is obviously what makes the show go, is our interactions with people like Ryan and others that are in the Discord. And we very much appreciate everyone that's a part of it. If you do want to join the Discord, like Ryan is in the Discord with us, donate via PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App, and label your donation Discord to join our Discord. Again, $5 a month or $50 a year will get you in. And you've got myself in there. You've got Corey. You've got Kasheen. Haven't managed to convince Gary or Don yet. I don't know that we'll be getting those guys in.
Everybody's really nice. Everybody's really nice. Everybody's cool. It's just like a friendship thing, and it's. I'm glad I did it too.
Absolutely, great community. Discord, never watch a Hawkeye game alone again. That's what I'm saying. And I am planning on doing some stuff on Discord. I know Corey's a busy guy, and I got other stuff going on too, but I will at some point be doing some things on Discord, whether it's halftime shows, whether it's pregame shows for big games, maybe for the NCAA tournament. Maybe we should do a little pregame show on Discord and talk it up with everybody. So you never know what you're going to get in Discord. In fact, the other day, Corey dropped kind of like a mini video on audio. I think that was last week, where he had dropped some thoughts on a newsworthy item for 3 or 4 minutes. He just kind of hit record and recorded the audio and dropped it in Discord. So everybody on Discord got kind of a little mini show, a little mini video, a preview to a video that was coming out. So stuff dropping on there all the time, little tidbits of information, stuff about recruiting, kind of our own version of a community / message board. So again, if you do want to get in on that, it's been awesome. Been great fun. We would love to see you there. Over 70 of you guys have already joined in. So Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal, $5 or $50 for a month or a year. Label it Discord, and we will email you your link to join what I think personally, maybe I'm biased, but the best community in Iowa media that exists out there. We'll certainly take the cake over a 247 message board. So with that, Ryan, I do appreciate your time. It's been great fun.
Thanks for having me, Kyle, and good luck with your golf game this spring. And let's go Hawks. God bless, guys.
Absolutely. All right. Always great to get Ryan on and chat after a game, and absolutely, very mild tonight for a loss. I think we're all kind of mild considering the way that they played. So good stuff. Good stuff as always. Again, the Discord, I'll leave that scrolling here. Let me go ahead and do one more thing here. And then we'll kind of wrap up for the night, recap some of our stats and final thoughts. If anybody else wants to call in, I'll leave the call in line open, the StreamYard line open. Don't have our phone line tonight, but can call in via StreamYard if you'd like to get in, or leave a super chat if you would like us to get to your comment. Let me just throw this up here. All right, everybody. This is something that I'm gonna do just real quick now, since I'm hosting the end of the show. Drop me a follow, Kyle Spence Golf, on Instagram and on YouTube. You can subscribe on YouTube, follow on Instagram, like all of the posts. Just threw a trial reel up today that'll be on the profile in just probably a day or so. Dropping coaching content, dropping some golf content, my own personal tournaments and personal results, working my way back from wrist injury at this point from last August that put me out for about 7 months. So happy to be back, happy to be playing in the gym, trying to get stronger again to get ready for tournaments this year. I'll be playing in US Open qualifying on May 4th. So you'll get some updates to that on those pages. But yeah, if you're interested in golf, if you're interested in getting better, I'm going to be putting up more coaching related content. Hopefully you find that useful. And if you're interested in in-person or online lessons for adults or juniors, go ahead and shoot me a DM on Instagram or message, comment on YouTube, and I can get you some contact information to reach out. Again, in person or online, going to be offering online lessons this year. So if you are interested in that kind of a thing, please do reach out. I really do have a passion for coaching and teaching the game. And it's been a great pleasure over the last couple of years to be a golf coach in the Iowa City area, get to work with a lot of great high school players, a lot of great junior players, and some really good adult players as well. All the way from people that are just beginning to play the game all the way up to, your college athletes and things of that nature. So again, drop me a follow on Instagram, subscription on YouTube, Kyle Spence Golf, for more coaching content, coaching posts, and for any online lessons and any in-person lesson requests. I'll be located at Pleasant Valley Golf Course during the golf season this year, and at Elevate Golf Club in North Liberty, brand new facility with TrackMan technology opening up here this week. So I'll be located there this year. Do appreciate the support. All right, everybody. Michigan defeating Iowa 71-68. Great performance by the Hawkeyes. I did mention just a little bit. I'll recap the metrics for those that are interested. Iowa rising to 23rd in KenPom tonight. Is it crucial to their tournament resume? Maybe not, but I tend to think it's indicative of where they're at. 32nd ranked defense and 32nd ranked offense at this point in the season. So doing okay on both sides of the ball. 361st in tempo, only 5 teams slower than Iowa. 64th in strength of schedule, not bad. Certainly better than it has been. Bart Torvik has got Iowa 30th in offense and 33rd in defense, number 23, overall. Obviously defense hasn't been as good in the last several weeks, as Iowa has lost 5 of their last 7 games. We hope that streak can come to an end against Nebraska, but no guarantees there. They've got one more game against Nebraska, and then they will go to the Big Ten tournament, where they will likely play Oregon or Maryland. The winner of Oregon or Maryland in probably a low quad 2 game would be my guess. I'm not sure if those teams are high enough. We'll see. Low quad 2 game would be my guess. Hopefully they get through that, and then the rest of the way it should be, I think, all quad 1 after that. So chance to pad the resume with maybe a couple of victories, and then we will be on to the big dance. Exciting times, everybody. Exciting times. We've got the Iowa versus Nebraska game coming up. The women obviously are in the heat of their Big Ten tournament right now. So Illinois taking on Iowa tomorrow at 5:30. I believe Corey and Kashin will be on tomorrow night after that game. So again, tip off at 5:30, show about 7:30, 7:45 at the conclusion of that game. Plenty of stuff to come here. Obviously, that Nebraska game, I will play the Big Ten tournament starting next Wednesday or Thursday. And then the Big Dance Selection Sunday will be next, not this upcoming Sunday, but the following Sunday. And then we've got the Big Dance the following week. So good stuff, everybody. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you for the last hour and 40 minutes after Iowa loses to Michigan within the friendly confines of Carver-Hawkeye Arena. Man, this team will be fun if they can play like this. Just got to learn to close games, but got a lot of basketball ahead of them. All right, everybody. It's been a pleasure. We will see you after the Big Ten tournament game tomorrow, Iowa against Illinois. Have a good night.